Can you all hear me now? Perfect. Okay, so hi everyone. Welcome to Teach, Mentor, Inspire with Tableau. I'm Kathleen Daly, part of our customer success team here at Tableau. I'm so excited to be joined by four incredible powerhouses of the Tableau community. Together they embody exactly what the DataFam is all about. Lifting others, sharing knowledge, and growing together in ways that not only build confidence and connection, but also drive meaningful impact inside their organizations. To get us started, I'd love for each of you to introduce yourselves, your names, role, and how long you've been part of the DataFam, and how you first got started.
Hi everybody. My name is Danny Bradley. I'm the Senior Data Enablement and Execution Lead at VMO2, working with Sarah and Priya and Shreya. And we didn't plan it that way, I promise. It just worked out that way. And I've been a part of the DataFam since 2018, when I first attended TC Europe in 2018. That's me.
Perfect.
Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Bartlett. I'm Head of Data Experience and Adoption at VMO2, working with this fantastic team. I've been part of the DataFam for about 11 years, so I joined in 2014, and I've been around ever since.
Hi everyone, my name is Priya Padam, and I am a senior Data Adoption and Insights Lead at VMO2. And it's actually my 1 month anniversary today, which is very exciting. And I have been part of the DataFam community for 6 years, and it's actually my 6-year anniversary on March 3rd. I'm an anniversary person, apparently, but yeah, very excited about that.
Amazing.
So hi everyone, I'm Shreya Arya. I'm a BI specialist at Virgin Media O2, and I've been using Tableau for 3 years. And I got started with community projects, which I really love doing.
Amazing, thank you all. Also in charge of the slides, perfect. So before we dive deeper, I wanted to follow up on something that you just touched on. Priya and Shreya, you both started off in community projects such as Makeover Mondays and Back to Viz Basics. What encouraged you to take that first step, and what motivated you to keep getting involved?
Yeah, so I was contacted by a recruiter back during the lockdown phase of the world, and that's how I found out about the data school. And from there, I found out about Makeover Monday. And I think that's kind of everyone's gateway into learning about Tableau, and that's really where I kind of grew my skills and learned how to actually use Tableau, and kind of having that consistent way of participating every single week and being able to try out a different chart type, or kind of look forward every Sunday to when it would be posted online and seeing everyone's work on Twitter. I really loved that. So that kind of motivated me a lot to be able to see what everyone else was creating and then try it out every week and just keep kind of reverse engineering and seeing if I can do it too. And that kind of gave me the courage to do it, because I was very nervous at the beginning, but it really encouraged me to just try new things.
Yeah, so very similar to Priya. I also found out about Tableau while applying to the data school, and for me it was like a great opportunity to grow my skills, but I didn't come from a data background, at university I studied chemistry, which involves data, but it doesn't mean I knew visual best practices or I was building the best charts. A lot of my charts did include red and green line charts, which aren't very accessible. But I had no clue about that, and I was building pie charts with like 12 slices, and I was like, this is great. This is so clear. So that's when I found out about Back to Viz Basics. So that was an opportunity to go back to the charts that I wanted to improve and learn what was visual best practice and grow my skills in that way.
Okay, thank you. And for all of you, how has being part of the community supported your career and personal growth?
For me, so I started, as I said, in 2018, and again started with Makeover Monday, like most people do, right? I'd been using the tool for about 3 or 4 years, since version 8, if anyone remembers version 8. That's when I started using the tool. For me, after going to the conference in 2018, and I discovered Makeover Monday and a few more community initiatives, I started posting all of my work onto Tableau Public and everything I was creating. Started doing a few vizzes kind of outside of the community initiatives as well. From there, that got noticed by a recruiting manager with a well-known railway company. And essentially I got an interview through my Tableau public profile. I didn't get the job that time, but I continued to evolve and create new visualizations, and then another opportunity came up a year later. They were expanding the team. I'd kept in contact with the recruiting manager, and then was hired for the role. So yeah, it was integral to me getting the role.
Sarah,
Yeah, and for me, kind of similar to Danny. So when I first got started, I was introduced to Tableau at work. I was working as an analyst and pretty much in Excel exclusively. And then we moved to Tableau. I didn't know what Tableau was. I got sent on a training course for 2 days, came back from that training and was completely blown away about around the things that Tableau could do. But I realized I didn't have enough skills to really go ahead and use it. I was the only analyst in my team using Tableau. I didn't have anyone I could turn to for support. So I started looking at Andy Kriebel's blog, because that was recommended to me in the training. The training was with the Information Lab, and he worked there at the time. And then not long after that, he launched Makeover Monday. So I got involved like right in the very, very beginning. I think it was like week 9 of the first ever year. But it took me 9 weeks to actually participate, because I was so afraid of posting anything on Tableau Public. I thought someone would come back and say, oh, you've done it wrong, or you've used the wrong chart type, or something like that. But I quickly realized once I took that plunge and posted something that it actually wasn't that scary, and there's a lot of people out there that want to support you and give you feedback and improve your work. So I continuously did that. I got feedback, I worked on new things, and through doing that realized I wanted to actually have a career using Tableau. And by that point, I'd built out a Tableau public profile by participating every week, and went for a job as a consultant and got the job. So I guess the rest is history.
So for me, I honestly didn't know what I wanted to do at all. I graduated uni and I was very, very scared, very, very scared, had no idea what the future would hold for me. And so finding Tableau and the DataFam community actually gave me a career path that I never even knew existed. And that was amazing for me, the fact that there was this data tool that everyone was so crazy about, and it kind of ignited a sense of loving design, and I never used to love design or art, so it was just so exciting. And the impact is immeasurable, because I went from feeling like I'm never going to get a job, I'm never going to have a career, to actually being able to create a career in something that I'm really passionate about. So sometimes I kind of look back to how I used to be 6 years ago, and I just think, I'm so glad I didn't quit, because there were so many times where I would kind of feel disheartened or just maybe want to give up. But then I just, with the support of my boyfriend, definitely, I just thought, you know what, let's just keep going and keep going. And actually, just a bit of a little story just to tell you. I remember when I first posted my very first viz on Twitter, back when we used to post vizzes on Twitter, I was so scared that I had to get him to press the post button for me, because I was just too scared to do it myself. So I'm really glad that he did that, and I really hope he watches this, because I want him to know that I'm really thankful for everything he's done to support me, and extremely thankful for all of the DataFam for just being my friend and encouraging me and supporting me, especially these people here on the stage.
Oh, amazing. And Priya's boyfriend, we hope you're watching. And Shreya?
So for me, I started using Tableau Public in my spare time as a way to creatively express myself, because you get to play with so many colors, designs, charts. Usually, like when you think of Tableau, you think of like more business dashboards, but I really enjoyed kind of making it more for myself and just playing around with like more fun designs. And from that, I was able to try out new techniques, grow my skills, make so many new friends. And I realized how community-focused the DataFam really is, because everyone's sharing their knowledge, they're sharing tips, they're sharing how to build like a cool radial chart and stuff like that. So it allows you to creatively explore new designs, I guess, in a way, while making lots of friends in the DataFam, and be part of a community that makes you feel really supportive and loved. And I feel like it's just so open to anyone who wants to join, as long as you're interested in learning and growing your skills and actually collaborating with other people, then the Tableau public community is so abundant and rich in all of that. So I've really, really enjoyed my journey so far.
Incredible stories from all of you. And to touch on a few themes you've all touched on, Danny, I know you said that Tableau Public opened professional doors for you. What did that teach you about the power of visibility, and how has that shaped your career journey?
Yeah, I think one of the main things it taught me really was you've just got to put yourself out there, right? If you go onto my Tableau Public, not a plug, but if you go onto my Tableau Public profile, you'll see like every visualization I've ever built, right back to when I built my first visualization. Some of those first visualizations are not the best, shall we say. But what that did was it really exposed me, and it opened me up to feedback from members of the community through things like Makeover Monday and Workout Wednesday, and it kind of really, if you put yourself out there and don't be afraid to do that, then you'll be in a place where you can receive the feedback and just grow from it really quickly. Like Priya said, right, it's like about pressing that button and just not kind of fearing any consequence, because there isn't any consequence, right, to just putting yourself out there. The only thing that can happen is you'll grow from it. Yeah. So that's it for me.
Advice we can all take, I think. So Shreya and Sarah, you both use blogging and content creation as a way to share and inspire others. What skills has being part of the community helped you develop that you didn't expect? Or helped you strengthen?
I'll go first. So I think there's a ton of adjacent skills that we've developed being part of the community. So for me, I set up my blog as a way of sharing the work that I was doing. It was more for selfish reasons. It was more so I could document my approach to building vises and actually remember how I did it. And I have gone back and referenced my own blogs from time to time to remember that of techniques I've done. But it's blogging gives you that little kind of piece of the internet where you can just do whatever you want, post whatever you like. You could have interviews with people, use it as a platform to talk about things you've been up to. Like, for instance, I used to blog a lot about going to conferences and what I'd learned at conferences and then share that out. But by doing that, it gave me the ability to refine my writing skills, to also consider like how my message was being given to the audience. And also public speaking. So a big part of what we do is kind of sharing our work and coming to speak at events. I've been running the London Tableau user group for 9 years now. And so that's given me a lot of experience in running events, in public speaking myself, but also helping coach other people to get them to a place where they're comfortable speaking.
I think that deserves a round of applause, everyone. Shreya?
Yeah, so for me, I started blogging during the data school. Initially, they kind of forced us, but now I realize why they were making us do it. So when you're blogging, you're essentially reinforcing the knowledge that you've learned in such a small amount of time. And when you're writing these blogs, you'll realize the areas that you're slightly weak on, because if you can't explain it to someone else, then do you really know it well enough? And that's such a great opportunity to simply Google and understand more about the topic and explain it in your own voice. So I would, if you want to write a blog, don't worry about how many blogs there are about the same topic, because the way you write in your own voice could help someone understand the topic. They might not understand one blog, but the way you've written it could make perfect sense to them. So it's a great opportunity to do that. I think blogging doesn't also have to cost a lot. So there are free platforms like Medium that let you blog for free. So there aren't too many barriers to blogging. You don't have to host your own website or spend lots of money. And it's a great chance to post your stuff on LinkedIn, for example, and be a bit more visible in the community, which always will help you later down the line.
And Priya, I know that you mentioned that public speaking and posting your work used to feel somewhat intimidating. How has the Tableau community supported you in kind of getting past that self-doubt, and how has it impacted your career as well as your personal growth?
Yeah, so when I first kind of discovered Tableau and the Tableau community, I was very, 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 very shy, very, very scared, very. I'm sure many people who knew me back then agree, and they can vouch for that. And so much so that when I first had my very first role in data at the data school, I remember kind of joining a Zoom call with just my fellow colleagues and literally shaking before the Zoom calls. Every single one I'd shake so much because I was so scared to even go on a Zoom call with people during the lockdown. So that's how scared I was. But I knew I didn't want that to be the case forever. I wanted to improve and I wanted to stop being so nervous all the time. So I volunteered to do a work placement where I had to train people multiple times a day for 6 months. And I kind of regretted doing it at the beginning. I was kind of like, why did I sign up for this? But eventually, as the days, weeks, months went by, I stopped being nervous, and eventually I stopped shaking completely. And I actually began to enjoy public speaking, and from there I wanted to maybe progress to in-person public speaking. I forgot to mention that was all virtual. So then actually, Sarah then asked if I could speak at the London Tableau user group straight after lockdown. And I remember seeing her message, and I was going to say, no way do I want to do that. But I kind of slept on it, and then I thought, okay, you know what, let's just say yes, let's do it. So I said yes. And then for a whole month, I was very, very nervous and scared leading up to the event, and I just rehearsed. And when the day came, it was actually one of the best days of my life, truly, because of the support and the encouragement that I felt from everyone in the DataFam. And now I can just truly say I love public speaking, and it's one of my passions because I really wanted to share how much kind of the community and kind of being part of all of this can help you and to help you find your voice and your confidence. So if there's anyone out there who would love to get better at public speaking, or you feel nervous, or you just anything, you just kind of feel scared. I saw someone's hand go up. Speak to me later. Then feel free to come to me. I have so much advice, or at least hopefully helpful advice, the stuff that helped me. But the one thing I can say is just try, give it a go, and definitely try out a Tableau user group as well, because they're a safe space. And thank you, Sarah, for asking me to do it, even though I was really scared. I'm really glad that I did it, and from there I've actually spoken at more Tableau user groups and 3 in-person Tableau conferences, and yeah, it's been amazing. So please, if you need any help or advice, you can speak to me, always happy to help.
Oh, thank you all for sharing
I will add
that.
as well that your talk was amazing. It was like she was a seasoned pro. Like you'd never have known it was your first talk.
Oh, that's amazing. Do you know what? It's interesting to see how those first small steps of posting on Tableau Public, joining a tug, posting just to share your work online can completely shift your confidence and open doors. But of course, those steps take vulnerability and stepping out of your comfort zone. Sarah and Danny, for anyone who's hesitant about sharing their work or asking for feedback, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, I would just say make that first step. So for me, it was sharing my work. I can see plenty of people in the audience. I'm looking at you, Dan, because I think you're a great example of someone who's done that. And so I don't know if you know, but Dan's shared a ton of work on Tableau Public, and he actually came to speak at our London Tableau user group recently about his journey. And I think you spoke here yesterday about it too, but it goes to show that where that can get you just by continuously showing up, putting your work out there. It may not always get the likes that you want or the favorites or the traction, but that doesn't mean to say that you should stop. The algorithms have these things sometimes where your work just doesn't surface, but just keep going, keep doing, showing up in the ways that you feel comfortable in doing, and that it's going to push you out of your comfort zone. It doesn't have to be through Vising either, so all of us have a similar journey, but there's things like the Data Dev program, so if you're interested in more of that side of things, there's opportunities to get involved there. There's hackathons, there's other ways to get involved and show up. You could have a blog, you could just show up on LinkedIn if you don't want to blog. Just getting your name out there continuously, meeting people, coming to events, coming to user groups. It's all it starts with is making that first step, really, whatever that feels right for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with everything you've said. I think it's really good advice. I think one of the things for me is reaching out to people in the Tableau community and in the DataFam directly. So the way the analogy I always use is that you're surrounded by people who are incredible at what they do. They're the best in the world at data visualization and Tableau. And they're willing to help you be as good as you can be. So it's like being able to go to a football camp and have like Messi and Ronaldo and Mbappe teaching you how to play football, right? That's exactly what it's like for me. And for any non-football fans, sorry that's completely gone over your heads. But essentially, it's about that direct contact, right? So I've reached out to plenty of visionaries and ambassadors to ask for help directly on LinkedIn and Twitter and places like that. And everyone's so willing to help. So I think if you reach out to them directly, generally speaking, they're not going to say no, and they're going to kind of push you further. And if you don't get in contact with them after that initial contact, they're going to push you even harder and be like, why aren't you talking to me? Like, come back to me. Like, give me more. So yeah, if for anyone who's kind of feeling nervous about kind of, and you've put anyone on a pedestal, like just that doesn't exist in the Tableau community. Just reach out to them and speak to them directly, and they will be willing to help.
Incredible. I think the Tableau community proves that if you're brave enough to share your work, then people show up for you. And that's really lovely. Shreya, I know that you went from a participant to co-lead of Back to Viz Basics. How does it feel to be giving back to the community that helped you grow?
So it feels really, really rewarding. So I remember when I first started with Back to Viz Basics, this was like before I joined the data school. I didn't have all of the training and the skills that I was very lucky to go through, because through the data school and the information lab, I was able to be trained by these expert level coaches, all of these visionaries. It's almost like every person's dream to gain all of those skills, but I know not everyone goes through that experience. So one thing I wanted to introduce when I joined Back to Viz Basics as a co-lead is some tips that I'd share with each challenge. So if anyone's completely new to data viz and they want to improve their skills, hopefully it gives them like a nice basis on how they can improve their skills. Because I know when I was going through those challenges with no knowledge of data viz, I relied on the community to tell me all of those tips, like Dennis Cow. He'd tell me so many great map layer tips, which helped me level up so much quicker. Someone else in the community taught me about dot strip plots and how to make them more visually clearer. By going through those challenges, it was the DataFam that were feeding back all of these tips and helping me level up so much quicker. So that's one thing I wanted to introduce to the projects to kind of help other people in their journey as well. But it feels really, really rewarding, and it's so, so nice to see people grow their skills and have fun with the challenges. And we like to try and pick seasonal topics, because when I was doing the Back to Viz Basics challenges myself, my favorites were the seasonal topics, because you really get to play with the design and the charts and have a bit more fun with them. So that's something we've tried to keep in our projects, but it's so, so fun. I'm really enjoying it.
Good. And for all of you, how have you brought some of these community experiences into your organizations? And how has that supported your team or organization's data culture?
Yeah, so at VMO2, I mean, obviously, the Tableau community kind of created my career, right? So I wanted to make sure that was I could push that into VMO2, and working in the adoption and enablement team now, it's kind of like I get my dream job, right? So I get to do what I love every day and enable people with Tableau, and it's fantastic. I think one of the things for me is being able to take those community initiatives and pull them into the organization directly. So even at previous organizations, I've hosted sort of weekly Makeover Monday sessions where if people weren't feeling comfortable to put themselves out there to the kind of main Makeover Monday and get feedback from them, we would do that internally instead. So then we would have a couple of people who would give feedback on that basis. I think one of the things we've done recently at VMO2, which has been really useful, is we've hosted weekly data analyst certification sessions. So essentially we would use Will Sutton's GPT and other tools as well to kind of go through example questions that would come up on the exam, take people through that. As people then started passing the certifications, we would get them to share their experiences to the rest of the group. And in the last 6 to 8 weeks, we've certified about 20 people. since we started the program, which is pretty incredible, I think. So yeah, it's had a really positive impact. We've got some people here today who from VMO2 have been recently certified, so congratulations. And I think it's just being able to take the lead from the things that happen in the community, and then you can come up with your own ideas in the business.
Incredible.
Yeah. I think for me it's similar to Danny, so I've built out communities at various different companies, and the important part for me is actually that bringing that community in. So I think often you join an organization and there'll be people using Tableau, but it's kind of been forced upon them, and there's it's just another data viz tool, and then they're completely blind to what's out there in the community. So I think it's our responsibility to really make that known. So for me, I want to tell people about Tableau Public. I want to shout about all these great things that you can get involved in. And sometimes it does take some convincing. Yeah. So I know when Danny set up a champions program at VMO2, we had a sign-up form, and one of the questions was, do you have a Tableau Public profile? And I said to him, we should make that compulsory. So if they haven't got one, they need to get one, and it takes like 5 minutes to set one up. It's free. There's absolutely no excuse. And you were like, no, that's going to be too harsh. We can't do that. But I was like, well, why not? Because even if it's blank, even if it's got one viz on it, it's just having it there and knowing about it and having the intention to at some point share something, or even just like favorite stuff. Just having it there and using it as a resource is really, really important. Another thing that we did earlier this year after TC was we did a watch party. So we actually watched devs on stage. We had Amy there. Amy attended her first conference this year in San Diego, so we got Amy to come and present what she'd learned, and then we watched devs on stage as a group and kind of brought some of that energy from TC back. We had some swag to give away and got some pizza. Just got everyone together in a room and really shared something that otherwise people would have missed out upon. And I think that having them there actually watching it, maybe it was their first devs on stage, they'd never seen anything like it before, really brought that energy to the company. So we'd definitely do more things like that as well.
Yeah, and I would just following on from that, I think that term you use, energy, right? That's the real thing that kind of like, you come to a conference, you come to an event like this, and then you'll go away from this with heaps of energy, right? And you can replicate that in your businesses by doing the same thing. Yeah. And I think that especially those in-person events, right? So obviously it's, teams are now, since COVID, teams are spread out all over the place. It's more difficult to get together, right? Generally speaking. But I think if you can kind of anchor your community around those in-person events at regular intervals, and then infill with virtual events, then you keep that energy up.
I think we ran our first Tableau user group at VMO2 last week. And we had, how many people did we have?
260 people.
Yeah, so 260 attendees. It was virtual because our teams are spread across the country. But we had Torre, who you might have seen yesterday or today. He came and presented to us. So I think sometimes, despite us being experts, people don't take us seriously because we work at VMO2. So sometimes it helps to bring your community friends in. So we got Torre to come, and that was super fun. Yeah. But we brought some of the energy you see at regular user groups into the company. We did some swag giveaways and a quiz. Yeah. And I think that, and it also gave Emma over here the opportunity to share some of the fantastic work her team have been doing, and really make that known to the rest of the company of all the great things we're doing with Tableau. And having those events gives you that platform to do that, and kind of brings those users together in ways otherwise they'd be siloed in their individual teams.
For anyone in the audience now thinking, okay, how do I spark that momentum in my organization? What would be your first step that you would recommend? For both of you, actually.
I think for me, Sarah mentioned it, I think finding people in the organization who are truly passionate about data is kind of the key to unlocking that, and then spreading out from there, right? Because we're just a small team, right? So there's 16,000 people that work at the organization. So trying to reach all of those people just with 2 or 3 of us is obviously going to be a massive challenge. So the Tableau Champions program that we set up recently and then we found Tableau Champions in each of the sections or the domains of the business. That really kind of helps spread that message, because those people that we found, and a lot of them are here, they're just as passionate about data as we are, and passionate about Tableau and what Tableau can do for the business. So finding those people. So I think if you were going to take a first step is set up that Champions program. Happy to give advice if anybody wants to set up a program. Please just give me a shout after this or on LinkedIn. I think that's probably the first step I would say, is because then you get that exposure, right?
For me, it's I agree totally, but I think also you need somewhere for your community to live. So having somewhere, whether that be Slack, Viva Engage, whatever you use internally, having somewhere where you can bring your users together and communicate with them, and they can also communicate with each other, I think is really important. So where people can go for questions or just advice to connect with other users. We have a Viva Engage page at VMO2, and recently someone completely unknown to us posted an incredible viz on traitors. So at VMO2 we have a lot of usage data. We can see like how many people are watching different shows, that kind of thing. And he built this incredible like Tableau public worthy viz. And he posted it on Viva Engage, and me and Danny were like, who is this person? This is amazing. But just, just showing people what's possible and inspiring other users, and having a space like that, I think, is really important.
I think that's very special. Learning from the community, bringing it back into your organization, and then creating opportunities for people in your organization to grow. I know that some of the people are in the audience today. And that brings us kind of to our final topic. For someone new to the Tableau community, what is one action they can take after today to start building connections, growing their skills, or finding their place in the DataFam? To everyone.
I guess I'll go first. Kind of leading from my earlier answer, I would say join a Tableau user group. And if you're not ready to try it out in person, you can start off with virtual Tableau user groups. And I actually forgot to define what it is, because maybe some of you don't know what a Tableau user group is. It's essentially an in-person or virtual meetup where you can connect with, learn from, and hear talks from the community. And they're just so great because it really allows you to see that the community is real. They're real people. They have amazing things to share, and you can learn from them. And it's really inspiring as well. And I feel like whenever I leave a tug, I just want to try out everything I learned. And it really just brings everyone together. So I really recommend giving that a go and see what you think. There's always one kind of locally to you as well. So see what's close to you and try it out.
It would be consistency. Be consistent with your learning and keep posting whatever you're doing in the Tableau community, whether it's like more of the Tableau public end or whether it's blogging. Be consistent at it, keep posting and learning, and you'll notice that like your progress will grow over time. And maybe you're disheartened by your first viz and you're like, oh, it's not that great. Post it anyway. Try to learn something new with each opportunity you get, and once you look back maybe like a month later, you'll notice how much you've grown, both like in the community, in your portfolio of work, and with that I think it also comes with confidence. So the more you do, like the better you'll feel about yourself as well. So I would say be consistent with everything you do.
Put yourself out there, so whether that be sharing on LinkedIn, sharing something on Tableau Public, and then bringing that onto LinkedIn or any social media platform. But I think it's all about showing up, similar to what you said. Perhaps if you're at this event today, you can share a post on your experience on LinkedIn and share some hashtags so that's more visible to people that are here. You can build your network that way, but then consistently show up. So maybe next week you post a viz and you ask for feedback, or maybe the next week you join the Slack community and post your work on there and ask for feedback. Or like Zainab runs a feedback session, maybe you share your viz and get some feedback from her. But whatever it is, just show up in the ways that feel comfortable for you and push yourself out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, I think for me, it has to be to get involved in the community initiatives, right? There's so many out there now for you to get involved in. So things like Makeover Monday is a great kind of starting point if you're really new to Tableau, right? Because you can essentially all Makeover Monday is that you get given a data set and a visualization, and you ask to make over that visualization, and then share your work and get feedback from that. So that's a great way to be involved. Workout Wednesday is another one. So Workout Wednesday is very, it's a little more technical, right? It's a little more in depth, but it really kind of pushes you. So essentially with Workout Wednesday is you are given a visualization, and it's been built and you kind of have to reverse engineer it. essentially and understand how maybe features being used or the calculations that are involved. That's a really good one. And then on kind of like the more fun side, not that Make of a Monday and Workout Wednesday aren't fun, but things like Sports Viz Sunday, Back to Viz Basics as well, they're fantastic initiatives. So just find a kind of one that fits you and things that you're passionate about. I think if you viz what you're passionate about, that will really kind of help accelerate your learning for sure.
Okay. Well, thank you all for your honesty, your hard work, energy that you bring to the DataFam, and thank you all for joining us today. I hope you leave feeling inspired, whether you're posting your first viz on Tableau Public, whether you decide to mentor someone, join a tug, join a community program. Hopefully you leave here feeling inspired and you enjoy the rest of your DataFam today. Thank you, everyone.